Welcome to episode 52 of JD's Empire Sports Talk. This one will be a little bit of a Mets and Knicks episode, just like last week, but a lot has happened since last week. That's why I felt it was best to have another little episode before we do the show with Big E, which will be Tuesday night, not Monday night. Usually it is Monday night at 7:30, but we had to change plans a little bit. It'll be Tuesday night at 7:30, so just a day later. CT will also be on to talk about, Yankees, of course, but just baseball in general with the All-Star break coming up next week. And we'll go through the All-Star rosters with him, guys he likes that's in the game, some guys maybe he thought should be in the game. A lot of questionable guys left off the roster for whatever reasons, but there's also guys that could be added still if injuries and things like that happen along the way by next week. So the teams and players just got to be ready to send certain guys if they get called to do that. But yeah, and the home run derby as well. I forgot to mention that the home run derby will be next Monday. So hopefully by Tuesday, the field is set. They only have announced like three guys that are doing it so far. So hopefully they get that done by Tuesday, and we can go through that as well. But yeah, we'll do the normal episode today, and then we'll have Big E, of course, and CT on Tuesday, and then we'll go from there. We haven't decided what we want to do in terms of the home run derby. Maybe we'll do like a live watch. Maybe we'll do it before it starts. We'll figure that out. But for today's episode, we'll do Knicks and Mets. We'll start with the Knicks just because they don't have as many things to talk about, but they do have things to talk about. Mike Brown was announced as the new head coach last week sometime. I think it was in the middle of the week. I was going to come on and kind of just be, just go out of control, but it's not really the worst move, so I can't really complain too much. But it's also not the best move. It's not something that I feel changes the team's expectations or what people think of them from the outside, whoever you want to think of, like people out there thinking of this team. I don't think it makes a difference who the head coach is. Like it obviously if they hired someone that has no experience or someone that has a losing record, yeah, that can hurt the team a little bit. But this Mike Brown move to me doesn't really move the needle in terms of getting worse or getting better. I kind of feel like they're in the same range. And yeah, it's easy to just say that, but there's a few different things that I looked through in terms of Mike Brown and Tom Thibodeau, like coaching resumes. Mike Brown has coached about three teams, I think, same as Tibbs, pretty much. Maybe this might be Mike Brown's fourth team. If he's getting a shot at a fourth team. I don't remember exactly. I know one of his stops along the way was very, very short, so I don't really count that. But he is a 600 winning percentage coach, which is great. That's gonna get you in the playoffs every year, pretty much, if you want to think of it like that. He does have a winning playoff record, 50 and 40, I believe it is. So I'm sure they'll add to that number in a good way and a bad way next year. And then he has been to an NBA Finals before. He did not win, but he made it with the Cavs, and he has coached a lot of talented players. I think this one's a little different for him because the teams he's coached, for the most part, were teams that were younger, and he kind of had to mold his like philosophy, especially his most recent team with the Kings. They're kind of a younger team that he had to make them buy into what he's trying to teach. With the Knicks, they're ready to win. There's not going to be. I don't think there will be a time or times where he needs them to believe in what he's saying. That's not the case with this team. They really believe in themselves. They don't really need to get that extra little boost to get going. They should know exactly what they need to do and do it. And I think that's going to be fine for them. They don't have to worry about that in the slightest, just because they got veterans. They have pretty much the same team. In terms of the playoff rotation, the top seven guys are back. And now also, I forgot to add, they are bringing in Jordan Clarkson and Yabusele. I forget his first name, or it's hard to pronounce, but I rather say his last name, Yabusele from the 76ers. Clarkson's a six man of the year type player. He averaged 16 a game with the Jazz last year. He also shot the ball a ridiculous amount, which I don't think will happen with the Knicks just because their offense is different. They're going to have more, leadership if he's taking crazy shots, and they're also going to be winning games. Clarkson probably felt like he's on a team that stinks. I have to do a lot more than maybe what's asked of me, and he's not going to have to do that for this team. He can play whatever amount of minutes. He's going to be the sixth man, and he can average from that 13 to 15 point per game range on a more of I'm trying to think of the word like efficient way of doing it compared to when he with the Jazz, like I said, taking all those extra shots for no reason, and only making 6 of 20, yeah, you're going to score a certain amount of points, but not what you want. And I don't think that's going to happen. And then Yabusele, another guy that he could score. He could definitely score off the bench. He's most likely off the bench, but I have heard whispers of him being potentially the guy next to Cat in the starting lineup. I don't see that happening, really. You have two other choices you can go to before you pick him, which is Mitchell Robinson and Josh Hart. And Mitchell Robinson should be the guy they go to first. I just believe that's the right thing to do. But you never know. And also, Yabusele, he just signed here. So those two guys you give the shot or a crack at first, and then you go from there. But he was really good for the 76ers last year. He made a name for himself in the Olympics. Dunked on LeBron James. Had a really, really good run for France, who surprised some people along the way, and he was a big part of that. And that's what earned him an NBA contract because he was in the NBA. It was with the Celtics. Then he didn't really do well or whatever. He went overseas, played, and last year in the Olympics made a huge, really huge presence, and then signed with the 76ers, and now he's with the Knicks for 2 years. So we'll see what he can give. And if you think about it, yeah, they're not the Clarkson and Yabusele are not the best players to ever walk the earth, but they're much better than I feel than what they had. If you want to compare their positions, Campaign and Precious Achua, these two guys are much better than what those two will provide. So I think that's great in terms of what they're looking to do there, and bringing in a solid bench, and then you have Deuce McBride off the bench, and then you have whatever guy you don't start, Hart or Mitchell Robinson off the bench, or they can even bring in a center. I don't think they're only going to play 9 guys anymore. I think they might expand back to the 10-man rotation, which is something they didn't do with Tibbs. Only in the beginning they did, but then after that he kind of scratched the plan. And for that team, yes, it worked, but that doesn't mean it's going to work for this team. And it seems like they have more depth, so they got to go out there and attempt to use it. Because if they don't use it, they're going to do the same thing they've done the past few years, and that's what I think the separator is, or what the Knicks feel the separator is in terms of Mike Brown and Tom Thibodeau. Brown trusts his entire team. Thibodeau, I don't know if it was trust, but he didn't was very reluctant to go more and more into his bench. Maybe yes, they didn't have it to really do it, but also like he didn't give himself a chance because he didn't really give these guys. He didn't give himself a chance because he didn't give the guys a chance to go out there and show them what they can do. So that's a little bit of both. It can't just be on one end of the side there. You got to okay. I don't have a bench, but also I have to give these guys a chance. He didn't do that, and Mike Brown, I'm sure at the beginning of the year he's going to do that, and we'll see what happens. But he is a fiery guy, so I don't think that's what we thought that would be maybe an issue of why Tibbs was let go. Don't think that's the issue because Mike Brown will let you hear it if he feels that it's warranted. So it's kind of the same as Tibbs. But yeah, Mike Brown, new head coach Jordan Clarkson, and Yabusele in as the two free agent bench guys. Right now, the NBA's news is a little slow, but I don't know. Maybe the Knicks have another trade or something up their sleeves. Very possible. Giannis and LeBron is kind of out there right now, so maybe they can swing a trade for either one of those guys, shake up the starting five a little bit. But that bench is not really going to be changed. So in terms of if they get LeBron or Giannis, they're not really going to have to break that much of the depth up. Yeah, they'll have to give away starters, but Giannis coming in to replace them is not really that much of a difference at all. So I think they're going to be okay. Those are very encouraging bench signings. Very encouraging just because they have to spend a lot and they got two talented players. And then we'll switch to the Mets here. 52 and 39, their record is now. They're still in second place, but they're in a dogfight with the Phillies. I think that's going to go pretty much the entire way until the season is over at this point. And they went 4-2 this week. The stretch before that, they were about, I think it was 3-15, 3-16, something really out there like that. So that's great to see that they were able to bounce back from that and now go 4-2 in the week, taking series from the Brewers and the Yankees. The first game, because they were off Monday, then Tuesday they got rained out, so Wednesday they had to play a doubleheader. That first game at a doubleheader did not look promising for them. They lost. They had 2 hits, I think. Then Mendoza once again. I know a lot of people give him heat for certain things he does, but in terms of pitching, but I mean he has no choice with that, which we'll get to in a little bit. But in terms of the lineup, he's never afraid to take a guy and move him into a different spot to make this guy start hitting. And he did it with Soto. Going back to last year, he moved Lindor to lead off. Team took off. He needed Soto to get going. He moved him down to 3. Soto's hitting way over 300 since he's done that. Lindor and Nimmo, He had Nimmo second. Nimmo, yes, was hitting second, but Lindor was struggling in leadoff spot. So he just flopped them. See what happens. They win game two at a doubleheader. And he's like, okay, we'll leave Lindor in the second spot in terms of who's pitching. We'll put Marte or Nimmo in the leadoff spot. So he does that. Marte bats leadoff. They win again. Okay, we're gonna do the same thing. Then they first game against the Yankees, Nimmo's lead off now, and then they win again. And then yesterday they won. Today they lost, which was a rough game. It was close, 6-4, but they had AAA pitchers out there. That's something they really had this whole weekend. They didn't have much pitching at all. Friday they used Hageman and a few other guys to get through the game. Yesterday their bullpen was very short. That's why they really try to get Montas going a little more than he could have. And then today, they didn't really have anything. They had Davinsky, who looked good. He did his job. Zach Pop stunk. And then Waddell, who's pitched a decent amount now. It seemed like he got a little tired, though. He did pitch 3 innings on Wednesday, and he's pitched, and then I think against the Pirates on Sunday from last week. So he had a decent amount of work over the past week. It looked like I caught up on him a little bit, but it was 5-0. They got it to 5-4. Then they did give up another run. Bond gave up a run. He hasn't looked right either. Kind of seems like he's wearing out a little bit. And then they lost 6-4, but they did give it of course, an effort, which is something that over that long, not losing streak, but just rough, really rough stretch, didn't seem like they had that in them, which is something I think if you wanted to talk about a little concern to have for this team is yes, when they go down, doesn't always seem like they want to get back into it, which is in large part just they look flat, but they have not looked flat the last 6 games, which is very encouraging. They turned it around just like that. And Mendoza is not afraid, like I said, to make that move to benefit the team or which he thinks will benefit the team. I'm sure when he said we're going to bat Lindor second, we're just going to bat him like second tonight. We'll just change it up a little bit because we're not winning games. We'll score probably a few runs because we're not really hitting. And then we'll put Lindor first tomorrow. But then they exploded. They scored runs. They won a game. And he's like, we're going to stick with that. And that's what I like of a manager. You can't be a robot and say, okay, I'm only going to do this. I'm only going to do that. It's not going to work. You got to be able to make adjustments, and he's done that. And it's also on the players. He said that Mendoza. He said Lindor, Nimmo, those type of guys. Soto. When I went to him, I went to all three of those guys and see what they want to do in terms of the lineup. Because certain guys are comfortable in certain spots of the lineup at that level, and they know how to prepare for it and things like that. And he said he went to all of them about their different roles in terms of batting, and they were all okay with it. They want to win, and that's great. Having a manager that's willing to put his foot down and say we're going to change things up, and then you have to have the players in this day and age of baseball have the players be like, okay, we're going to do it. We're going to say we want to win games now. We have to change this lineup up because we're not scoring runs, and it's great. Great to see this team kind of get back on track a little bit. Hopefully, they end this week strong going into the All Star break. They got 3 against the Orioles, who have been awful the entire year. Have played better baseball, but they're still way under 500 in last place. That's got to take care of them. And they're also facing their pitching that Orioles pitching stinks, and they're facing guys that they should hit around. So we'll see what happens with that. And then the weekend, they're facing the Royals, another team that started out good, but they have been in the skids lately. They're losing games way under, starting to get way under 500, and potential of trading guys at the deadline. That's how far they've come down to earth, or way under earth at this point. So they got 6 very winnable games all on the road. See if they can go 4-2 again. If they get to 4-2 again, that'll get them to 56-41 at the break. If they go at this point any less than 4-2 against these two teams, it is a disappointment. They can do better, of course, but 4-2 winning, that's winning 2 series pretty much. If you want to think of it like that, they should be able to go out there and do that. And the starting pitching is going to get healthy now. Senga and Manaea should be back by next weekend. So Thursday will be the only game they really need to rely on the bullpen, and that's just because Senga and Manaea aren't ready to go in the Thursday slot. They're more so for the weekend. But yeah, it seems like now they'll actually have a rotation to go through, and then hopefully Senga and Manaea do pitch this weekend because that gets them a nice start, and then gives them a week or to over a week rest in terms of when they start again after the All-Star break. And this is kind of not really a rehab game, of course, but a little bit of more of a rehab, relaxed environment before they have a few days off and then they come back. So I think this would be good if both of these guys can definitely get in there for the weekend. I think Senga's a lock, and I think they're waiting to see with Manaea. But if they get those two guys back, Senga was great. I don't think people remember. Once he went down is when this losing kind of started to happen. And him being back, that's huge for this team. If he can be what he was before his injury, That's big, and it's not an arm problem. So I think the arm is going to be fine. Of course, the hamstring is fully healed and everything like that. And then Mania, he was great last year down the stretch. Hopefully, he can give them any resemblance of what he was last year. And then you add in Clay Holmes, who looks like he's gotten a little tired, but he's been good all year. Peterson, another guy who's been good. He had a few rough stretches, but he's turning it around a little bit. And then Montas is your fifth guy for now, but it doesn't mean you have to stay like that. You can get a guy at the deadline and expand to a six-man rotation. You can get Montas out of the rotation, whatever you want to do. So it seems like the team is getting healthy as we go now, which is great. Winker, another guy, he'll be back Tuesday, so that's big. He had a really nice weekend and with rehab assignments. He moved up all the levels within the last week, so that's great. A guy that's going to be much needed for this team. I said when I was doing the show with Biggie earlier in the week that his play alone, yeah, he can hit. He'll hit for this team. He'll be productive, but the other aspects of his game, on and off the field, will be huge for this team. Just him being there, because yes, he could be there during home games, but those road games he wasn't there for because he was rehabbing, and this weekend, of course, he wasn't there because he was playing. So that's great to have him back. And then we'll see what happens with Marte. He had to play left field today for Nimmo. Nimmo DH. He played left. He had three hits. His bat has been alive since moving to the leadoff spot. But then he had he took a pitch in the bottom of the ninth and it seemed like his knee. So he hurt his knee a little bit. So hopefully that's not going to be lingering. And hopefully now they don't need him to even go on the field because that's usually been his problem over the past few years. Was he? Yeah, he'll stay healthy for a decent amount, and then he'll get hurt because his knee acts up on him, and that was a big thing last year, and they kind of hampered his play a little bit. So hopefully he can just adjust to that, and he'll be back uh, Tuesday with no injury, not going on the IL. I don't think he'll need an IL stint, but the outfield definitely gonna have to go in the back burner and just go in there, take at bats. And now with Winker being here, that's gonna change the dynamic a little bit. So that's good. And then the one question mark is just that bullpen. The bullpen's been a little rough. I know they have injuries. Guys in the bottom, if you want to say bottom three relievers in the Mets bullpen, they switch them out every couple of days, and they really need to shore that up. I think if you go out there and get a lefty and a righty reliever, that's just exactly what this team needs. If you get a high caliber righty, you can get a lesser of a lefty. If you get a high caliber lefty, you can do it with the righty. They just need two relievers, I think. Two relievers and a starter and then another bat along the way. I know that I probably don't want to trade for a third baseman, but if you have the chance to, I would do that. If not third base, center field definitely, because Tyrone Taylor is not hitting and he's not an everyday player. And then McNeil, you're expecting a guy to play center field, that he's not really a center fielder, so that's another thing. So those two things got to be figured out, or three things I should say got to be figured out. But they'll be okay. 52 and 39, 13 over 500. Got to finish strong this week going into the All Star break, and then you go from there for a week and a half or something like that, 2 weeks maybe before the All Star break. I mean, before the trade deadline, after the All Star break, and then you'll be fine. But yeah, that'll do it for episode 52. I just want to hope everyone goes out there, follow the TikTok, follow the Instagram, on YouTube, same thing, subscribe, share all the videos, leave comments. Episode 53 will be Tuesday night with Biggie, and then CT will be on about halfway through the show. We're trying to get him on for 8:30. So then he'll be halfway through. So we'll do whatever, and then we'll get into baseball, get all the thoughts he has on baseball, and then we'll go, and then we'll end it. But yeah, it's a fun time. Just want to thank everyone once again for supporting, and that'll do it for episode 52. See you.